episode number 5 of OK Crafts. If you've joined me in the past, welcome back. Happy to have you here again. And if this is your first episode with me, welcome. This channel is inspired by poor crafting ability, choices, reckless art, energy. Sometimes things turn out great and sometimes things turn out terribly. And that is why this channel is called OK Crafts, because mediocre is the baseline. So today I have 3 finished objects and 2 works in progress. It is all knitting. I was hoping to get to coloring this week. I've really wanted to color, but I've just also been knitting like a storm. So I have just knitting to share with you. I'm sorry. There will be hopefully coloring next episode, but I didn't film last week and I have a lot to share and I didn't want it to just be piling up and then have an episode that's forever long. So just so I can stay on top of my crafting output, we're doing another knitting episode this week. I apologize in advance if you're hoping for another craft. It will come. So I'm gonna start off with what I've completed in the last 2 weeks, and then I'll move into what I'm working on. Basically how I craft, you're gonna see a lot of the same yarn over and over again until it's all used up, because I don't have the space to just buy yarn, use it in a project, put the rest in scrap and start something else, because that accumulates a lot of scraps. And if I'm not staying on top of using up my scraps consistently, there is just no space for anything else in my life, in my closet, because it is a small closet and I keep everything in a plastic box. So knock on wood, we haven't had them here, but in case of roaches, water bugs, moths, bed bugs, or mice, which I have experienced all of those things living in New York, I don't want to have to go through and wash or throw out a yarn collection. So it all has to stay in a small plastic sealed box. And in order to stay on top of that collection of really nice yarn, I have to keep knitting through things. So that is why you'll see a lot of the same stuff over and over again. It is because of how I live here. So, and because of all of the vermin I have had to interact with in my days living here. So the first thing that I completed last week was the Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West. I purchased this yarn when I was visiting England over the summer. The Camel's yarn is the colored yarn, or the, I should say, variegated colored yarn, because the other color is the color too. The variegated yarn here, that is by the Camel's yarn, and it is hand dyed. And the colorway is something about Cardinham woods. I'll put it in the description box. I cannot remember. It's a long name. And I also can't remember what the base is. I'll put that in the description box too. It's been a minute. I do know that the cinnamon color is Gepard Garn Cash Sock, which is merino and cashmere and polyamide, and that is this cinnamon color, basically the bones of the Boneyard shawl, and then these intercostal spaces, those are the Camel's yarn. You might also notice there's a little bit of gold thread held in the color, or held in tandem with the variegated color, and that is a gold thread that I added. It's just a polyester dual duty sewing thread, because the space that inspired this project. The ground, it was ocean ground, and the tide was out, so you could see the gold leaves and the seaweed and the rock and the sand and then the cliff face, and it was all just so beautiful. I wanted to capture that in a knit project from my travels. So this is that. I was concerned about how big this was going to be. It was quite smushed up on my needles. I used a US size 4 24-inch circular needle, just lengthwise, to knit it, and it was rather scrunched, but I did block this, and this is post blocking, so it grew significantly in blocking, which I'm very happy with. And this is it. I'm 5'2", and I can pretty much hold this like with my arm span here, and I can also wrap it around my shoulders. It's not like the thickest, warmest, biggest shawl in the world, but like I could find a shawl pin and like pin this here and bebop about town like this too. I love it. I have worn it out and about, and it's soft and cozy and just makes me think of my English adventures this summer, and I really like it. So I recommend the pattern. It was super easy to follow. I had never knit a shawl like this before, like this. So it was an easy first shawl pattern to follow. Very clear. I don't know if I'll be knitting another shawl anytime soon, because I did feel like it went on for forever and ever. However, I do think that is mostly because I was just excited to have this project to own and wear, which is not usually the case. I'm more of a process person rather than a product person, but I really wanted this product, so especially for fall now, so I was mostly just anxious to have this, and I'm really glad that I do. So first project done. My second project are these house slipper socks. I have been trying to use up sock yarn and mohair. So I held this Fig and Posy Fiber Company light pink Jupiter color tandem with this single sock Fig and Posy Fiber Company sock yarn, and that made this really, it's tonal, but like very lightly variegated with the little speckles from the mohair. It was cool to see the pattern of the mohair, because the yarn it was originally purchased for was a darker cinnamon color, so it mostly just overall lightened the yarn and gave it lightened the sweater and gave the fabric a general marled effect. But by using this like white or light cream yarn, you can really see the different contrast in the hand dye of the mohair, which I love. And then I also used, in combination with the white sock yarn, the Fig and Posy Vixen colorway, and that created this, the purpley blue top and toes. And I think these are so cute. I just look at them and I'm like, they're cute. They're cute socks. And I can't wait to wear them at Christmas time. So very excited to have them finished. They'll be great for sliding around the wood floors at my parents' house and my in-laws. My in-laws have the smoothest wood floor ever, and I cannot wait to slide across those wood floors wearing these socks. So I will be packing these when we go back for Christmas. And then my third completed object, I have a combination of yarns I was trying to use up. I have a Cardiff cashmere that I had never worked with, that I purchased while visiting England, and I held it double with this black yarn, which was a scrap from the sweater that I knit, the Monday sweater. that I knit last podcast and finished. So the black is West Yorkshire Spinners Exquisite line of yarn, and it is mulberry silk and Falkland wool, and I held one strand of that with the Cardiff cashmere because it was a really light DK. It's the classic Cardiff cashmere, and then I held the Gepard Garn Cash Merino double for the band and for the top of the T-back on the bralette. This pattern is by Sara Knits Co, and it's called the Basic Bralette. I did not follow any of the directions. This was a reckless pattern, a reckless craft, and I honestly didn't know if this was going to turn out, and it's expensive yarn, so a part of me was like, back out, find a different project, like back out, find a different project. But you know, once you've gone so far, you're just like, screw it, we're too far, I don't want to back out and find a different project. So I just kept going and really didn't know if this was gonna fit or work until I finished sewing the straps on and tried it on. And that is pretty much how I craft. I've been doing a very good job following directions for the last 10 months, and October just whirled around. Today is the 5th, and I don't know, I cast this on October 3rd or 2nd. I don't know, October hit and I was like, I can't do it anymore. So I followed the pattern in the sense that I used the numbered directions for the size large, but I wanted an extra small. My yarn weight was DK. I held 2 fingering weight yarns together, and honestly, they're light fingering weights. They're very fine, and like it is a light DK, I would say. All the yarns held tandem, and you know, living on the edge. The pattern calls for a worsted weight. The pattern calls for a US size 8 needle. I use DK weight, like a light DK, erring on the side of lighter DK versus like real double knit fiber feeling yarn. And I used a US size 6 for the body and a 4 for the ribbing. It also calls for a crochet chain strap, and I did an I-cord and used 4 stitches for my I-cord, and I think my I-cord is like 6 inches long. It is very short. I have a very small chest to shoulder to back ratio, and my straps are always falling down, so I made extra small straps. And this is not blocked, so this will probably grow a little bit and relax a little bit. The armpit does cut quite high. I'll try to put a picture in so you can see what this looks like on my body. I was worried this was gonna be a little too big, but once it gets like stretched out onto my person, it looks great. And I'm surprised. This could have looked like trash. I did not use all of the Cardiff cashmere. I could have, but I got scared and thought I was going to lose yarn chicken. So you can see here, I did the Cardiff cashmere strip followed by the just straight black strip. I could have gone up a little higher with the cashmere, but I have 6 grams left over and I'm gonna put that into a headband. So it's not a big deal, it's fine. But I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get it all used up in this, because that was the point of the project, was to use up all of that yarn. There is still scrap yarn. This was a Scrappy bralette project, and there is still yarn left of every color. So stay tuned, there'll be more projects with this. And that is it for completed projects. Moving on to works in progress, I have two. I was gonna cast on another shirt, but I wanna finish up my yarn scraps, so I'm so close. So this is another Fig and Posy Fiber Company sock. I'm using this, is it called Amethyst? No, Arctic sock, tweed sock, Arctic colored tweed sock, fingering weight yarn, held double with the Vixen mohair. And that makes this really cool sapphire kind of shiny color. And then we have the tried and true cream and baby pink held tandem for the stripes, heel, and I'll use it for the toes as well. I have enough left over to where I will get the other sock made with no worries. I'll be able to do the stripes and the heel and the toe. I have more than enough here for that, and more than enough here for that other sock. And then the other project, I'm making my first Musselburgh hat. And I think last episode the hat was a disc, and now it is looking like a sack. The skein is, I just keep it in the hat. It makes it for easy traveling, easy knitting on the go. This is what's remaining. It's like 50 grams. So I'm still in the just this knitting stockinette in the round phase. Oh, here it is. This is called the Coquette Sock by Bumblebee Acres Fiber Farm. And the colorway is inspired by House of the Dragon. It is called Dragonstone. It is 75% superwash Corriedale wool and 25% nylon. It is a fingering weight yarn, and it is 3-ply, 434 yards. It was a 100-gram skein, but I weighed it and it was like 125 grams. Like, there was a lot of yarn in this. Like, I was like, there's no way. This is just 100 grams. And I was right. It was massive skein. So this hat is gonna be huge. And I'm stoked. I'm gonna use the whole skein for this. I love it. I use it as just a sitting at my desk project. I like having a mindless knit in the round. I'm using a 16-inch size 2 circular needle, and it's great. I really like it. My sock is the project I take on the subway, and the hat is the project I do at my desk. So I have 2 traveling projects, and I'm going to finish those and then start like a 3/4 length toasted tee. So I'm very excited about that. I was hoping to have some coloring to do today or to share, but I'm just trying to get through all of my scrap yarn and current projects so I can stay on top of all of the yarn that I have. I do have some yarn skeins coming from some pre-orders that went up this fall from dyers I've not worked with yet. I have a queue on Ravelry with what I have planned for the rest of my fall and winter, and I'm super excited about my single malt sweater that I'm planning to make. I have a beautiful mahogany colorway of fingering weight yarn, and I found a beautiful brown to hold double because the single malt is an Aran weight pattern, and that's just too thick for me. So I'm going to do DK weight instead and just pick a bigger size. It's made for men, so I think generally there's gonna be just the DK size small is gonna be good, but we'll see. But I have that yarn coming in the mail, as well as a skein that I'm going to use for another Musselburgh hat. I already have one color, one skein color here at my house, and then the other skein is coming in the mail, and I'm very excited about that. Cannot wait to show you what that looks like. So I'm trying to knit up the scraps and current project yarn that I currently have, so my craft box has space available for the full skeins of yarn that I have coming in the mail, because again, I don't store yarn outside of my craft box because of vermin. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully I will have some more exciting projects for you next time. I'm hoping to have my toasted tea started. I've seen so many and I love that pattern so much. I've never knit one before and I'm really excited. I'm going to use a black and red tweed sock yarn. I love figuring weight yarn so much. So I can't wait to get started on that. I'm hoping to have this purple pair of socks done. I'm hoping to have this hat done. And I would love to start my next Musselburgh hat if that yarn comes in the mail in the meantime. So hopefully there'll be a lot of fun new things to show you guys next time. But for now, that is all I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see ya when I see ya. Bye.